If you enjoy the Ranveer Show, this is the channel for you. You don't have to consume every single podcast, but you have to binge watch all the clips on this channel. It's TRS Clips. You're a Tantra practitioner
Yes.
and you just highlighted Kantara. I want to know this angle, like that you're an actual Tantra practitioner. And for those of you who are tuning into this podcast for the first time, you need to check out the first episode to understand Rajarshi sir's experiences. What did you like about that movie? I've not seen it yet and I intend on seeing it. But everyone from entrepreneurs to mainstream Bollywood to people like yourself are talking about this movie. Why is that movie special?
Oh, because something in the last 15-20 minutes of that movie is beyond acting. It was like what is called as a term we use called avesham, where the deity enters into an individual. And that is part of the sadhana. It will happen everywhere. Whatever deity you are worshipping, the higher ranges, the deity will enter. And this phenomenon happens across India in Hinduism. Okay. And it's not even a new thing. In villages, it happens. You'll see whether you go to the foothills of the Himalayas. In Bengal side, we have a term we call bhorha. Bhorha means deity taking possession of you. So possession is not, the Abrahamic idea of possession is that it's a negative thing. For us, no. Possession can be a divine thing. In fact, one of the oldest texts mention that a man gets liberated when Shiva possesses a person. A deity can possess you. And as I was saying, your highest state of upasana is when the deity is inside of your body. Okay, then who are you? That's the big question. Are you Ranveer? Are you the god? Okay. So this is a very Hindu concept. On this lies so many things, concepts of our upasana. And in that movie, in the last part of it, there is the main devata who's whatever is the storyline, etc. And he has a Kshetrapala. And the Kshetrapala possesses the protagonist and he fights against certain enemies. That scene that is there, it cannot be acted. There is some shift in the energy very clearly. And later I read, I was curious that how did he do it? So I read some interviews and all that. And he actually stopped eating non-veg food 20 days before that movie. And those last few days, he survived on coconut water. And he had help from people who are more advanced upasakas of that path. So they told him what to do. It's like he enters into that zone and that energy gets transmitted into the screen. That's why people, once they see it, after that, when they're alone, even in front of the group, they may say, oh, okay, it's just a movie. But once they're alone, it hits you. It's you that, what is it? What did I say? It's the same thing that will happen. If you're a non-believer, you'll run away from it and you'll say, oh, it's just superstition. I don't want to think about it. That's the way of protecting your mind from reality, of that kind of a liminal reality. And if you're a believer, you'll just fold your hands and say, what did I see?
Okay. Without giving any spoilers, can you give the plot of the movie a little bit for people who've not seen it? And we have international listeners as well.
So the plot is very simple. It's a conflict between a village and certain government officials who want to, it stays in a forested area inside, sometimes in interior Karnataka. And basically there are there's a king who used to live there. And the king one day decided that I want to go out in search of peace. So he goes out and he finds two devatas. One is Guliga Deva, who is basically a Kshetrapala, protector of that village. And then there is another boar, like a deity, like a boar. Okay, like we have Varaha avatar, which is Vishnu's avatar. Similarly, he's called Panjruli Deva. Okay, so those are the two local manifestations of the devatas. And he tells them that he feels very peaceful when he comes in front of them. And then there's an oracle. Oracle means somebody in the village who gets possessed by the deities and he speaks for the deities. So he tells him that you can take the two devatas, devatas manifest in a stone, just the way we do Murti Upasana, same way. You can take them, you'll have tremendous peace. But in return, you'll have to ensure that the village is given to the villagers, this land is given to the villagers and they are not disturbed, etc. So he takes it, he says that, okay, I promise, make a promise. And then the gods tell him that if you break this promise, or later generation anybody breaks this promise, then the Kshetrapala is not going to leave you. So if you make a promise to a deity, it's a very serious matter. It's not like human beings. Then eventually the movie goes into that there are later generations of that individual who wants to, he's dead, then a few generations later, they want that forest land back because it's very high priced, they can sell it and things like that. That lends into a conflict with the villagers. So this is how does this conflict gets resolved is the movie. While in the process, the main protagonist of the movie, he is somebody who belongs to a family of these priests. who gets the devata, the avesham of the deity, and he tries to run away from his destiny. He doesn't want to do that. The movie shows that he has no interest in it. Everything else he's doing in his life, but the moment he's asked to do that, he says, no, I don't want to do that. Okay. But the deities are like this. He has a chosen destiny. So the devata keeps manifesting signs to him. There are dreams that are happening. He's hearing voices, etc., etc. Eventually, it brings into a culmination where he finally gets possessed by the deity. And in that state, it's beautiful. It's indescribable how that last few scenes come out in the movie. Okay. So that's why I think it's a wonderful movie.
And the spiritual concepts shown within the movie are based on actual tantra.
And exactly. Those are real concepts. He wasn't making anything up. That is precisely how Devata Upasana happens in Dharma. And by the way, this concept of being possessed is not at all a new thing by a deity. It's there from the Vedic times. It's there in the Mahabharata. It's there in various other texts. In fact, in the previous podcast, I was just referring to something. When you do a upasana of a devata, you do something known as nyasa, which is basically you place specific mantras in different parts of the body. Okay?
Yeah.
Why? Because you divinize the body. What happens if you divinize the body? You will have a little bit of avesham of the deity. In fact, as you go to higher...
What is avesham?
Avesham is possession by the deity. Not fully, but little bit. Little bit of possession by the devata of the energy of the deity will enter into you, and that energy will do the upasana through you. Your own effort is not enough to reach there.
Upasana is practice.
Practice. Any practice you are doing. So eventually at the higher stages, the person realizes that even his efforts are not his efforts. It is he or she whom he is worshipping, the devata, the god, whoever is. It's anugrah, blessings of the deity who enters into you. His or her Shakti enters into you and gets the practice done through you. And that happens through a mild amount of avesham, mild or more avesham, depends. That's the practice.
The director of the movie, Rishabh Shetty, has also come to the forefront, and he's kind of the mind behind this concept of Kantara.
Okay.
So I'm sure he had some idea about these concepts, and that's how he,
of course,
manifested it. But on a more spiritual level, is it the choice of the deities around us to have movies like that come to the forefront and concepts like this come to the forefront? Where were podcasts like this 5 years ago? I wouldn't have dared to do it as a content creator. Why do I dare to do it now? And we get deeply criticized for doing podcasts like this.
Right.
So I can feel Maya trying to pull me back. And then I can feel Tarama making me meet people like yourself.
I firmly believe, and it's absolutely firmly believe, there is some shift that has happened. Because this kind of a movie would be impossible even a few years ago for various reasons. Okay, not just impossible. I mean, when I think of it, so whatever news I get is from the newspapers. Obviously, I don't know any of these people. So they thought it will be some kind of a low budget, just okay film and run in the local people. How word of mouth it spreads like wildfire, then gets translated into Hindi and throughout. In Calcutta, I'm amazed that the show has been running for so long, and I see people at one of the shows, and after at the end scene, it's like organically there is people who are like folding hands and all that. I mean, then they will question, your rational mind kicks in and what am I doing? Like, because you are not accustomed to doing this. Because the moment you come face to face with a reality like this, I do believe that there is a tremendous shift that is perhaps coming in this country.
In the world?
I don't know about the world. I'm focused more on in this land. Okay. World, maybe. I don't know. I've never traveled outside India, so I have no idea. Okay. But here, yeah, definitely. There is some shift that is happening, as if some of the old gods are waking up. And when they get a thing done, they have one of these things. If a deity blesses a creative endeavor, be it a movie, be it anything, it will cause a tremendous, the kind of reaction that you're seeing to the movie, it's cult following that I'm seeing, cult following of the movie that is happening. This cannot happen only by, you can plan things, you can be the best director and the best actor and whatever, greatest creative genius, you cannot plan this reaction. It happens through transmission of the Shakti of the Devata. Somehow or the other, it got captured in the screen. And whoever saw that movie, it left an impression on the mind. And it has its own way of working. That's all we can say.
Do you think Tarama is blessing this podcast?
Why not? I mean, as I was saying, just before coming to this podcast, I finished sadhana of Matara and it went very well. So I was very pleasantly surprised and very happy to see Vigrah of Matara here. So that's how, as I said, if the deities are happy, they'll always point you that, okay, I'm here, I'm watching you. It's like that.
Yeah.
It happens.
I wish there was a way for listeners and viewers to feel the energy in this room right now. Even Sanchit, Manjot are feeling whatever you and me are feeling right now. And this is not like a podcast experience we've had in the past. I feel the podcast itself has hit some new zone, not just through this episode, but some of the episodes we've recorded lately have just been much more intense. If you enjoyed this video, just know that this entire channel is full of playlists that'll take you down different pathways of learning. All sorts of subjects, all sorts of genres, all sorts of guests, but the one commonality, lots of knowledge. Enjoy TRS clips.